Welcome everyone. We are going to start in a bit. We are just waiting for some or the others attendees to join the session, right? Okay, so we can have a direct communication on this chat. This is a disposable chat, so please enter this link, whether you are on the computer, maybe you are on the cell phone, you can join to this chat, to this link, please. This is 31, O lowercase, 5, lowercase b, uppercase A and C. This will help us to communicate in a better way, so I can be reading your responses there. Thank you, Dennis. I'm reading your messages now. So I'm going to just zoom this a little bit so you can see this in a better way. So this has to be completely the same, because if it's not the same, it's not going to work, right? Okay, so I think we are on time now. So we're gonna start, right? So the recorder is on. Thank you for joining this session. This is the first of a series of webinars that we are going to be doing this week. The two days that we are on, we are going to be focusing on teaching English, and then we are going to do a little bit of informatics, okay, about IT. So I'm going to start my camera so you can watch me too, and feel free to just, yeah, that's disposable chat tool is free. I'm going to post the link, and I'm going to post now the way that I'm doing this for this chat, because some of the tools that we are going to encounter are going to be somehow or somewhat difficult to use, so whether with chat or communication. So this is a tool that we usually do are going to use for this specific type of communication, right? So yeah, it's a free resource for us. So let me just move the window, and I have here this. I have the disposable chat here, so we can start. I'm on time already. Thank you for the attendance. And I'm going to just check my email if I have some questions there. I think not. So for this session, we are going to be talking about gamification, right? So gamification is something that is really strong on these times with the pandemic, and we should be aiming at, you know, making classes a little bit more entertaining, because if we are following the same structure that we were following, in a face-to-face, uh, we were we are going to be aimed at, a failure with our students. All right, so this is all about gamification is all about these sessions. So let's start. I have also here, going to lower the music, I think, to the minimum, so you can just hear a little bit of that, but not too strong, right? So what I have here is the pronunciation. This is something that I want you to know, the pronunciation for this word. This is for the UK and US. I'm using just the dictionary for the Cambridge site.
Gamification. Gamification.
All right, it comes from games. Okay, it comes from games, and this is the same thing that we are aiming at many levels. It should not be focused only for preschool, only for kids. So it should be aimed at all the levels, and you are going to encounter different types of gamifications, and the purpose is to make the class more entertaining. All right. So we have some guidelines. We have some guidelines for that. So you shouldn't be aiming at the whole class for a game. That's not the point of this, right? You should be aiming for the class to be something that is going to be entertaining, but something that is also enjoyable, right? So let me just grab my. We are going to be, if you are on a computer, we are going to be doing on the second hour, we are going to be doing, you know, we are going to be registering and signing up for a site that I'm going to be talking about. Let me grab something here. I'm going to grab also the disposable chat because I can see that here. So thank you for joining the disposable chat. So we have Kevin, we have Freddy, we have Blanca. Some of you are joining still. Some of you are having a little bit of problem with Microsoft Teams. It's not typically an easy tool to use at first, but then you start to realize that it's going to help you a lot, right? So gamification. Some of you are entering the session, so welcome everyone. My name is Emilio Dominguez. I've been teaching English for almost 8 years, right? I've been teaching for all levels, and we are aiming at this pandemic to get things more interesting on our classes, and this is going to be this is going to be done with gamification. All right. Some of you maybe are just students, some of you are teachers. So thank you for joining. If you have a question, just put the question in the disposable chat. I'm looking that, and I'm have a second screen. That's why you see me, glancing at another thing. But I have here my other screen to see that disposable chat, and I want you to have the resources also that I have. So I'm putting that on the disposable chat. I'm going to put something that is really important for teachers that we are not really aiming at that in this session, but I think it's going to be important for us, and that's planning. That's lesson planning, and also I'm going to put the PDF that I'm basing this session on. This is going to the disposable chat. If you don't have the disposable chat, I'm going to put this here for a bit. I think I can do something here. Disposable chat. That's the way we are going to communicate. And you can communicate in that chat freely. I'm posting some links that I'm basing this session upon. So we already have the PDF. We have some deeper knowledge about lesson planning and about how the learning is going to be done with the student. But let's just focus now on having this already. The disposable chat is here, so you can join the session for communication there. Así que bienvenidos a todos. es una de las primeras sesiones que vamos a tener de esta semana, donde hay pues varios temas que vamos a estar tratando. Estos primeros días, los 2 días son enfocados al aprendizaje y la enseñanza de inglés, y los siguientes días son para informática. ¿Sí? Así que si alguien pues quiere comentarnos cualquier cosa, quiere comunicarnos cualquier cosa, está este chat que les estoy colocando acá en la derecha. Esto lo tienen que poner en su navegador, en su computadora, ¿de acuerdo? Y lo que van a realizar pues es entrar a un pequeño chat, como que fuera algo tipo WhatsApp, ¿verdad? Pero es para este momento, y esto pues ya después se elimina y no queda como en algún lugar de nosotros que querramos ahí tenerlo. All right, so thank you for joining. We have already some people there. We have Dennis, Kevin, Freddy, and Blanca, all right? And we are going to be focusing also on a specific site for today that I'm putting there on the chat too. That is Nearpod. Let me just grab the chat and put that there. So that's going to be a tool for us. That site that I put, Nearpod, is going to be a tool for us to do this gamification. All right, so I can have this little window here, right, for the disposable chat, for the ones that are entering the session. Just let me arrange this, because I think communication is key for this session, and we are going to be doing on the next hour. This hour is all about just the basics for this gamification and planning your lesson for. But at 11 we are going to have a small break, and then we are going to aim at doing something on the computer. If you are on the computer, is going to help you, because we can do the same things that I'm going to be doing as a workshop. This is aimed at a webinar and also a workshop. All right, so I think we are ready. We are okay. So I also put the pronunciation for that, because I think it's important for us to do that correctly. And let's start. Let's start with this is the disposable chat for the ones that are entering. And let's get into action. All right, I'm going to grab the guidelines for our class. Okay, so this is the PDF that I put on the disposable chat. The introduction to gamification. This is a white paper that's published, and this is the author. I really don't know how to pronounce this. Piet van de Boer, maybe, right? You can grab also the LinkedIn site for him. All right, so we have the first thing is, what is gamification? Okay, so the definition, this is completely young. The author is telling us that it's completely young and is evolving. So there are numerous opinions as to what gamification is. So a popular and striking definition is, gamification is the use of game elements and game thinking in non-game environments to increase target behavior and engagement. So we are aiming at putting this in context for our students, and to know that they want something different on these sessions, right? Because if we are going to keep with the same structure as I told you before on the face-to-face structure, that's going to kill all the attitude, all the motivation that you should be doing at your students, because you are not changing anything for this environment. The pandemic is making us and giving us a hard option that if you don't get into technology, you are going to be, you know, uh, you know, I was hearing my wife saying that a teacher, a chemistry teacher, and really, an old teacher on the Facebook had a video that he was crying. He was crying because he couldn't put the video for YouTube, and to put it correctly, and for the video to have sound also. And he was like, he was crying. He's an old man. He's really, really an amazing teacher, but he's crying because he's not able to do that. And that can happen a lot. That can happen a lot with our sessions, because we are going to have that. We don't have that knowledge, uh, you know, and we should be training, get into training, for this all the technology that we are handling. But it can happen. So, with the video, then the students just told the teacher, teacher, if you want us to see a video, just send the link and we can put the video on our devices, because it can be really frustrating. You don't imagine how frustrating it is to have, the knowledge and to have the motivation, but to let technology just, uh, you know, crumble you down, because you are not able to do something that is maybe something really easy. But that's the thing with this pandemic, right? This is a really hard time for many teachers, that we should be also helping. If you are a student in a classroom and you see that the teacher is struggling with something, right? You can help him. You can help him, and you can just, try to make that teacher feel better, if he or she is having a bad time with technology. This is going to happen a lot. All right, so that's an example of that teacher, a magister, as we call it here in Guatemala, a master, but with a different scenario with the technology that he is trying to get into. All right, so I put the link also here. So gamification is about using game elements, all right, a game and game thinking. This doesn't need to involve game technique. It's more about the way games are designed and the idea behind games. All right, in a non-game environment, commercial as well as not-profit environments, and to increase target behavior and engagement. So this is really important, how to engage students, and you should not be aiming at engaging students throughout the session, but having specific points of your lesson, right, to put gamification on. So I put the other side for the instructional design. That's from the theory of Robert Gagnes, that he was a tremendous scholar, and he adapted many ideas for how a class should be given. Okay, so I'm going to put this parallel to here. We have a delay. We have a delay of 20 seconds approximately. So we are not going to be focusing too much on lesson planning, but we have conditions for learning that this man taught. Okay, so the disposable chat is kind of silent there. Okay, so I think we're okay, right? We're okay. If you are okay, just let me know in the disposable chat. And okay, so we should be also aiming at students to have a different scenario with our sessions, with our classes, and this is all about how you are going to plan your classes. Okay, how you are going to focus on different aspects of the classes, and this is, you can read this in a deeper level, all right, for the conditions of learning, or Robert Garnier's theory, and this theory stipulates that there are several different types of levels of learning. Okay, the significance of this classification is that each different type requires different types of instruction. Okay, Gagne identifies 5 major categories of learning: verbal information, intellectual skills, cognitive strategies, motor skills, and attitudes. Different internal and external conditions are necessary for each type of learning. For example, for cognitive strategies to be learned, there must be a chance to practice developing new solutions to problems. To learn attitudes, the learner must be exposed to a credible role model or persuasive arguments. Okay, so this is all about, thank you, Dennis. Uh, this is all about, I don't want to focus too much with this because some teachers are going to say, oh, this is not about gamification, this session. I wanted to, I wanted to understand more about this, but I think it's important for us to know and to have that in mind, that we should be planning our classes better. All right, so we have different levels and different points that we should focus on the session, and I'm going to tell you about this in a bit. I have maybe some 5 minutes for this. Okay, so I have here, the theory outlines 9 instructional events and corresponding cognitive processes. This is super important, and this is all the information that is, you know, crunched together in these 9 lines. All right. So thank you, thank you. I think it's all okay. So let's get this straight and get this, try to memorize this, or just try to focus on the next session that you are going to have if you are a teacher, that you can use these moments, because these moments are going to be the ones that are going to help the student to learn better. That's all we are aiming at this. That's why you are also in this session, because you want to implement some strategies for your lessons. And if you are also a student, it doesn't matter, because you can also have this as a way to maybe, recommend the teacher, like, it's not about games, right? It's not about games, it's all about techniques. And the higher the technique and the higher the content that the teacher can have and can be uh, teaching, the higher the learning process is going to be improved. Okay, so the theory outlines 9 instructional events. It can be crunched to 5, but let's just keep with these 9 instructional events and corresponding cognitive processes for a lesson. This is for a class, not for the semester. This is not for, for a set of classes that you are going. No, this is for a specific class. Okay, let me grab this here. Going to erase that. So, gaining attention. How are you going to gain the attention for students? All right, this is super key for each lesson, and you should have this in mind. For example, for a warm-up. All right, you can do a warm-up here. It can be 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, let's go with the second one: informing learners of the objective. This is something that we do in INTECAP almost for each of the lessons, because we have that, in our guides. but you should be informing the thing that the student is going to learn in that specific class. Okay, so you should be informing learners of the objective. All right. Yes, Dennis, that's the thing. Uh, Gaining attention is about warm-ups, and it's not usually something that is going to take a lot, but it's going to start the attitude and motivation for students to know, okay, so this is the way that we are going to be learning today. And it gets approximately 6 seconds for a student to know if the teacher is good, or okay, if the teacher has a great technique. It approximately has, uh, the study says that you need 6 seconds to know whether the teacher is going to be helping you with the learning process, or that is going to be a bad experience for you. Okay, so we have a lot of students that are really difficult for us, but if we get things better with planning, with getting things under control, you are going to have a different type of students and motivation. Okay, so this is the second step, right? Informing learners of the objective. So for this specific lesson, you are going to be doing something that is going to be involving gamification, and you are going to be signing up for that site that I put on the disposable chat, Nearpod, and we are going to be doing something like a workshop. So this is super key, right? Super important. Stimulating recall of prior learning. We are going to be getting things from the past class with this. We recall of prior learning. This is going to be the process of retrieval knowledge, and it should be focused also on small steps and small activities for this. Okay, so you can have flashcards, you can ask questions, all right, and just try to get people talking about prior learning, about prior stuff that you were discussing. Okay, so do you remember that we were discussing about Rome's fall? Do you remember what the people were saying on the streets at that time? That can be an example of recall. All right, let's go for number 4, presenting the stimulus, the selective perception. So how the student is going to be getting better with this content that you are aiming for him or her. Okay, this is going to be an important process. Also, number 5, providing learning guidance. It's called semantic encoding, and you should be this is the part when you are giving the class and you are teaching content and you are maybe teaching new vocabulary. All right, so this is all about number 5, providing learning guidance, because at this point we want the student to know something that is completely new to him. Maybe we already did the prior learning and the reception, and we already have that student motivated, and now we need a really strong basis for the thing that we are aiming for him or her to learn. So as a question, where can you put gamification on this? It can be in gaining attention. What do you think? It can be in stimulating recall of prior learning. It can be here on providing learning guidance. Can it be here? Let's move on. Okay, you can discuss that on the chat too, and you can see the other responses for your classmates. Okay, this is all about eliciting performance, how the student is going to use that in a real environment too. All right, the thing that you already taught is here, but now we need the student to do something with that knowledge. All right. Providing feedback. This is a reinforcement, and this is a really important part for students, because if the teacher is not, you know, I'm going to pause this and I'm going to talk about positive, positive communication on the class. So we usually, we have hard days. We have hard days, and we all have different scenarios with our lives. But this is something that is really key for the students. This part, because I want to give more focus to this with providing feedback, and to let students to have a positive environment and have trust that if the mistakes are occurring, we are not going to get too picky about that. All right. So this is something that you should be focusing to, and this is called positive communication. All right. So this is all about getting the students to feel comfortable. They are going to make mistakes. We as teachers are going to make mistakes too. All right. So we shouldn't be too hard with ourselves. We are going to have some words that are not going to be, pronounced correctly. But this is all about getting this environment in the class with positive attitude, you know, and this is the way, that we are focusing this step of Robert Gagne's instructional design. Okay, it's all about that. Like, good job, that was excellent. Let me just correct you on the last part. And it's not all about saying yes, you saying yes to the student. All right, it's not about that, because we should be also, enforcing the rules that we have in the class, like paying attention. But for example, if the student is making a lot of noise, we are not going to focus that. And it happens in these environments on this pandemic, because people is going to have the classes in a lot of places, right? Maybe at their cars. But what I do is usually say to them, well, if you have a lot of noise on your end where you are, when you are going to be, participating with the class, you can just mute. Okay? You can be throughout the lesson mute, and when you are going to have the participation, you can open the mic, you can turn on the microphone and say that thing, because it's going to be a short time, and then you can switch off also again your microphone. All right. So this is something that I do, because if we say, okay, so Juan, you are making a lot of noise, please. Can you turn off that thing? And we can get frustrated too about the noise, but it's going to take a lot from you, because you should have that you know, positive communication with students. So this is all about the feedback, and how are you going to assess your students. Okay, assessing performance. We are almost at the end of this instructional design. I hope you are not too scared about this and to say, oh, do I have to do this for all my classes? You should be aiming at 5 of these we are going to look at. but you should be planning your classes, right, at these important steps. Not all the steps, but almost all of them. Okay, number 8, I think this is one of the things that we need more, we need the most: assessing performance, the retrieval. You already presented the subject, and you are already eliciting performance because the student is starting to respond to you. But is it responding in a correct way, or is it doing it maybe with some mistakes? Okay, so that's important to know. And this is the assessing performance. This is the moment where you are going to aim at the student to, to demonstrate that this process is working. All right. So thank you, Freddy. So this is, do you think that gamification can be included on this part, on assessing performance, on the retrieval of the knowledge that you already presented to the student? Or maybe for the last step, enhancing retention and transfer, generalization. What do you think? Where can you put gamification in this process? This is the process for a lesson that is going to be completely focused on enhancing that learning process. All right. I'm trying to read something of the messages here. Where do you think now that gamification can be included on this instructional design by this Sir Robert Gagne? I'm going to present that person to you. This is Robert Gagne. If you want to know about him and about that theory and about the process that he started, this is the way. I'm going to put the link for his Wikipedia. Thank you, Dennis. We can have quizzes like a hood or quizzes, to assess knowledge. Have you tried Kahoot with your students? And something that happens with us, with Intercap, is that Kahoot, you have Kahoot and you have also the teams session, all right? So in the cell phone, what they usually are doing is you are going to present Kahoot, and then they have to switch to Kahoot, and they can lose track of that. And if you have a lot of delay, it's going to be really hard for the students with Kahoot. If you are in a computer and the student is also in a computer, you are going to present this, and they are going to have Kahoot in the cell phone, and that can work a lot. But if the student is also, it has Teams here, Zoom here, or whatever you have, and also here is the device where he or she is going to be playing the Kahoot, is going to be really frustrating for him, because you have to be switching between screens, and you can lose the Kahoot progress there. Or you with the delay, we presented the answers in the screen, and when he switches to the other screen, the time is up. So with Kahoot, we should be aiming at putting the maximum seconds for them to be responding. All right. So that's the thing with Kahoot, that it can be somewhat difficult for them. So yeah, then it says that quizzes is going to be easier if they are using a cell phone. So it has everything there. So be careful for the ones that are attending. Be careful with Kahoot. If they are not in a computer, they are not on a computer, and they don't have another device. It can be really frustrating for them. It is really difficult. What can we do with that? Is just use another type of tools, right? Let me just watch the schedule, how we are going with the schedule. Okay, so I put a lot of effort to this on the instructional design. We are almost at the questions and gamification, icebreakers, and so. But I wanted you to know about this, about Robert Gagne's theory, and how these moments are going to improve a lot the way that you teach and the way that you learn too. All right. So this is called instructional design, and let's move now for gamification. Right. Let's go back to the PDF that we were discussing about. I'm going to close this because I have too many windows here. Okay, so for example, getting into gamification again, there's Folded. This is an initiative of several universities, research institutes, and companies with the goal to find cures for diseases. Okay, so this is an example of how gamification can be done in a higher level. To understand this, the proteins are digitally folded into each other like a puzzle, because there are so many different possible structures and computers aren't good at solving these puzzles. This is a time-consuming job for scientists. Look at this, solve puzzles for science. So this is a way gamification can work in a higher level, right? And you can contribute to them, because scientists are going to have a bad time doing this. You can download all the things here. Look at this. This is the way that this game, sort of game, right? Because it's a puzzle, is done, and we have points. So, game or gamification. It's obvious that a game like Wolfenstein or FIFA isn't gamification. Gamification is about using game elements outside games. A full game is not gamification. That's an important thing. We shouldn't be aiming at, okay, so this session is going to be all about you playing FIFA, and I'm going to be the referee, and I'm going to just be planning all the games. No, right? That's going to be impossible for us. They are going to like the idea. They are going to love that idea, right? But that's not going to be the way that gamification is going to work. All right, let me. So on the website that I put for Robert Gagnes, we have here an example. I'm going to put this. On the chat too. Going to have maybe a little bit of you know, bad format there in the disposable chat, but you get the idea there. It's also on the instructional design side. So let's get into action with this. Get attention. Show by this following example illustrates a teaching sequence corresponding to the 9 instructional events of the objective. recognize an equilateral triangle. Look at that. I know nothing about triangles, but let's get into action with this. Gain attention, show variety of computer-generated triangles. Identify the objective. What is an equilateral triangle? Recall prior learning. Review definition of triangles. Of it, you can see something in the classroom that is going to, initiate that specific knowledge. Present the stimulus. Give definition of equilateral triangle. Guide learning. Show examples of how to create equilateral triangles. Elicit performance. Ask students to create 5 different examples. This is where you are going to put students to the test also, because they are going to start applying the thing that you are saying here on the guided learning process. Provide feedback. Check all the examples. Assess the performance. Provide scores and remediation. And enhance retention or transfer. Show pictures of objects and ask students to identify equilaterals. So this is an example of that instructional design that maybe it had you scared to put all that into a lesson plan. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry, but I like the way that I work, and no, I don't want that. So please try to implement this on your classes. And if you are in the process of becoming a teacher, also always focus on the student getting something on that class. Okay. All right, so let's get back. So we don't do complete games. We don't do complete games for a class. That's not the way it works. Okay, besides full games, there are several other subjects that can easily be confused with gamification. Serious games and playful design do have some connection with gamification, but are in fact something else. All right. So to make a clear distinction between the several subjects in this area, the following model has been developed by Eterdin, Dixon, Khaled, and Nake in their paper. From game design elements to gamefulness defining gamification. Look at this. Oh, it's gone. It's not presented here. Let me search for that here. I think we have that here. Okay, so this is a complete essay about how to differentiate, right, games and something that is close to games from gamification. All right, so let's look at this. I'm going to put also the link here on the disposable chat so you can have this. Oh, that's not good. That's not going to work. That last link that I put there. This is the one. All right. So we have serious games, we have toys, we have playful design, all right, with playing, gaming, whole parts. Gameful design is here. Look at this. It's not about just presenting toys if you are a preschool teacher. It's not about playful design with all your structure and your content. And it's not about serious games, all right? It's about implementing different aspects of gamification and, like solving puzzles like Hangman. If I want to give a spoiler, right? Hangman. Maybe for nouns. Let's do this for nouns. Okay, so this is hangman. We are guessing this word. I'm going to put this for you. So I don't know if we played this hangman ahorcado many years ago, right? But we should be trying to implement this too. This is an example, right? And look at this, the complete amount. I'm going to zoom this a little bit. The complete amount. Um, yeah, T O. All right, so that's an example. That's an example with this. This is with nouns. If you are referring to nouns, and if you are referring to almost anything, you are going to find something that already a teacher has done in the past and that we can use. It's not all about the teacher making all the content, right? Because that can be just exhausting. It's about you using the tools that we have on the internet to get students motivated and get the learning process enhanced. All right, so I'm watching here my schedule. We have a pause. We have a break of 5 minutes. Right, so let's get 5 minutes just to breathe. And we are almost at this part. We have also the question if you have any questions, but we are almost at the part of the workshop that we are going to start finding out about Nearpod. Okay, let's get 5 minutes. I'm going to put a 5 minute timer here. So we can get a break there and let's get back in 5 minutes. All right, thank you, Brandon, for joining the session and joining also the disposable chat. We are done with the break, so let's get into action with this part of the session that is going to involve you doing something. Maybe if you are in a computer, if you are in the cell phone, well, I think it's going to let you just see the session. That's the way Teams works. And you can, I'm going to put the video afterwards for you to see the things that I'm going to be doing, all right? Okay, I'm putting some resources for you there on the chat, some PDFs, and I don't know if you, Brandon, can see the previous chat. If you can, if you cannot see the previous chat, just let me know so I can put the links again. I don't know if that works as WhatsApp. But usually in WhatsApp, when you join, a group, you cannot see the previous messages. All right, so now let's get into action, please. We are going to sign up for a site, Nearpod. I'm going to put a video here.
Introducing Nearpod, an award-winning student engagement platform that comes with thousands of ready-to-run interactive K-12 lessons. Nearpod is a platform that easily allows teachers to create, download, and teach interactive lessons across all student devices, including Chromebooks, iPads, iPhones, and Android devices. Teachers can easily upload their existing PowerPoints, PDFs, Google Slides, and Sways, and convert them into interactive Nearpod lessons by adding engaging activities like quizzes, polls, draw-its, open-ended questions, fill-in-the-blanks games, and 3D objects. With Nearpod VR, teachers can take their students on a virtual field trip anywhere in the world. Teachers launch a live lesson. Students enter a lesson code and the lesson is synced to all student devices. Teachers can also launch student-paced lessons, which allow students to complete a lesson on their own time wherever they are. Teachers get real-time feedback on student understanding and can access post-lesson reports to assess individual and class performance. Nearpod also has a library of thousands of ready-to-run, standards-aligned K-12 lessons across all subjects from a curated list of trusted publishers. All lessons are editable and customizable to meet the needs of individual teachers and students. Nearpod is the most comprehensive student engagement platform that your students will love.
So that's Nearpod. It has a lot of resources there. It's incredible how the resources are already curated, are already prepared for you. So let's sign up for an account there. And let's watch also at the pricing structure that they have. So they have the silver package that is a no catch package. Nearpod is not paying me, right? It's not paying me anything, so don't think that. But I find this extremely rich for our students and to get gamification and also interactive content into the sessions, right? So the silver package that is completely free, it lets you have 100 megabytes to upload, you know, things like PDFs and PowerPoint slides. You can engage per session to 40 students. So that's really something that is quite good because many of the resources that are free are going to close that and are going to narrow that because they want you to pay. All right. Let me watch the chat. Okay, I think we are okay with the chat. So you have formative assessments that are interactive. We have already PowerPoints there, Google Slides, YouTube videos, or files that we can upload there. Okay, we can upload there, and it's up to your storage limit. If you have in Google Drive 15 gigabytes, that's going to be the one, the space that you have left for everything. And we have up to 8,500 pre-made interactive lessons and videos. Look at this. This is really, as Americans said, this is crazy, right? So this is also up to your storage limit. For this, we have 100 megas to this, but we shouldn't be just crunching all the things there. We should be just putting some of the things there in Nearpod. We really don't have, we really don't need PowerPoints to be there because Nearpod I think is going to be more interesting for us to take advantage of the resources that are already there. Okay, so you can launch lessons with Zoom video, all right? You can access community support. There is live chat that is not available on this plan, but we already know how to put a live chat there. Or if you are in a Zoom meeting or you're in a Google Meet, you are going to be able to chat with students, right? All right, so I want you to go into that site, Nearpod, please. And we are going to sign up for the free package. I'm going to put a small video here for something that Nearpod has. Before we sign up, if you are not really motivated. Okay, so here it has a really quick overview of how an assessment can be done. It's close to the other tools that we have. Look at this. Which is a smile, as a simulator. I'm sorry. Which is a simile? It was as slippery as an eel. She is a strong lion. Her eyes were fireflies at night. It's raining cats and dogs. So this is an example of how can you assess with Nearpod, and you can put, images. This is aimed at preschool and this type of levels, but this can be aimed at any level. At any level, it's up to you what resources you are going to include on this type of, the background, the colors, and so that can be completely customizable by you. So this is an example, and look at this, and that's time to climb. Time to climb. This is an example of that. Going to close this. So, teachers, profesores, regístrese gratis. Estudiantes pueden unirse a una lección. So this is also an important thing, that this Nearpod site is also in Spanish. So you can have a lot of teachers that want to do amazing content, but they don't have that higher knowledge of English, and they get frustrated by a lot of tools like Kahoot. Kahoot is completely in English. Some parts, some bits are in Spanish, but it's really frustrating if you don't have that higher level and you want to get everything from the tool and you are not understanding that. So this is something that it has Nearpod, so we can just get the registration done, sign it up with your Google account, or with with the Office 365. Okay, so I don't know if you are there. If you have any question, we are in the process of making something with this in this workshop, this webinar and workshop, right? I think we are good on time. Just let me know if you have any question in the disposable chat. And thank you for putting things there in context. We are aiming at gamification, and that you are not going to use complete games for your lessons. That I think that's understood already by you, um, the ones that are going to watch this after this session, but that we should be including many aspects like the instructional design, specific points that we can include gamification there. All right. It can also be really motivating for students. So I'm going to sign up with my Office 365. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have an Intercap account, if you have a Gmail account, right? We are aiming at this plan, silver free. And look at this. If you want to get the most with more students and more space, you can sign up for the other plans, but this has to be spoken to your authorities in the institution that you are. But with the silver free, you are going to look how rich this site is. Okay, so I'm going to complete the signing up. So I'm a teacher. So it says, haz cualquier lección interactiva. Con Nearpod puedes agregar evaluaciones formativas directamente en tu lección para impulsar la participación de los estudiantes. Looks really good, right? No es necesario planificar desde cero. Comienza con un recurso que ya tenga o consulte nuestras lecciones prefabricadas y alineadas con los estándares. Desbloquea la comprensión del estudiante. ¿Recuerdan los pasos del diseño instruccional de Robert Gagne? Obtén información en tiempo real sobre los conocimientos de los estudiantes y accede a los reportes después de tu lección. Alright, so I hope you are already registered there. Brandon, Patricia, Blanca, Freddy, Dennis, I think is doing the process too. Try to get into Nearpod and try to sign up for that, please. I think we are already, I can maximize this. And it says, try your first Nearpod activity. Los tableros colaborativos son geniales para juntar las ideas y opiniones de tu clase. This is something that you are going to use, you know, for brainstorming. We have gamification assessment, cuestionario gamificado, like, you know, time to climb, cuestionario interactivo. Right? Crea un cuestionario interactivo para comenzar tu clase. Okay. Thank you, Dennis. The other ones, please. I want you to sign up for that. I want you to take a look at Nearpod. Whether you are a teacher or whether you are a student, you can get the most of this. There are lots of resources here. And if you are learning English, you can also use this because it has a lot of lessons that are already prepared. I'm going to take 2 minutes for this. There are the resources for the teacher, resources for getting started. So they have almost every day, they have webinars like this one with Nearpod. Thank you, Patricia. And you know, they have like this Nearpod for beginners. If you don't see how for now, you know, the true colors of Nearpod, and you are like, I don't think this is going to be the thing that the teacher says, but you can get into a webinar with these amazing people of Nearpod that they do this, you know, in a deeper level. Fuel your classroom connection with Nearpod. Transform student engagement with Nearpod. Plan, create, and edit a Nearpod lesson. All right, so these are completely free. You don't need to pay nothing. You need to pay $1. I was going to say, but you don't need to pay anything for that. All right, we already have also webinars that are already there on the site. Pop some popcorn, sit back and watch at your own pace. All right, so we have activating digital citizenship over here, 4Cs with Nearpod. And this is something that is really amazing because you can also get a lot of techniques. You know, the higher the technique, the higher you are going to be doing that learning process improved for your students, right? So I was here. I wanted to take a moment for that because they are extremely good, these webinars. All right. So we have here Biblioteca de Nearpod. So we have a lot of things here, and we have complete lessons. We have videos, the standards. Look at this. These are the standards that the states have based on policies and really strict regulations for them. We don't have this too much. Maybe the closest thing we have is the CNB with Mineduc, right? That we should follow competencies structure for our lessons, but they have different types of standards there. We have different subjects, so this is not only for English teaching. We have math, we have science, we have social studies, we have IT, with technology and computer sciences. We have the levels. Remember, this is aimed at many levels, so you are not going to be really narrowed with, oh, this is only for kids, and this is something that you can think, right? But look at this. We have racial justice, we have COVID, we have different subjects that are going to be aimed at different levels, higher levels that you're gonna have, right? International Literacy Day. Well, that looks interesting, right? So there are complete lessons. If you want to take a look at complete lessons, you can just click here, all right? And you are going to have here a lot of lessons that are already prepared by the Nearpod side and the Nearpod staff. I didn't do anything, remember, I just went to this, mi biblioteca, okay? I didn't do some strange things to activate this, no. This is all in the Nearpod site. When I finish my signing up, then I go to mi biblioteca, okay? This is going to be the thing that you already have, okay? You remember that you have 100 megas for this. And if you want to take a look at those extreme rich resources, you go to Biblioteca, Biblioteca de Nearpod, all right? If you want to take a look at complete lessons, you just click here with lessons, lecciones, all right? So we have here pluperfect. In this chapter, students will study the pluperfect tense. Look at that. Chemistry, health, comprehension checks. So what do you think about this? Do you think this is going to be something that is going to enrich your classes? French 1, look at this, French 1. Well, that's really impressive. Research and writing skills. These are complete lessons, remember, complete lessons, all right? If you want to just take a look at something different, okay, you can go here and click on the resource type. We have full lessons, we have skill builders, assessment, we have warm-ups. Remember Gagne's theory? We need to engage students first. So typically, a teacher that doesn't follow the instructional design is going to, okay, open your books on page 3, I don't know, page 10. Or for us, a live session is going to, okay, so we are going to start the class. This is the simple present. Okay, let's follow this and let's look at the structure. Imagine that, how unappealing that lesson and that class is going to be. So you should follow that instructional design, not completely, too deep, but the moments, the fun moments that are more important, you know, to get students really motivated. You need to get their attention. Warm-ups. Let's do a warm-up for this. Going to look at how are we going with the clock. I think we are good. How are you feeling there with the session? I hope you're enjoying this session. And icebreakers. We have icebreakers. We have words that rhyme. Would you rather? Remember, would you rather? This is, you are going to aim this also at the level that you are teaching, right? Dividing fractions. Look at this is for math. Nearpod team already did this. Shape up. Subtract. Reviewing energy pyramids. Well, you have a lot of things there. Okay, icebreakers, classmate bingo. Look at this. This is an icebreaker activity where students find classmates with various qualities on a bingo board. It's a fun way for students to get to know each other while getting acquainted with Nearpod. Students will need to be able to walk around the room. Well, this is typically something that is going to be for presential, for face-to-face, but maybe we can switch this, right? Okay, so I click there, 4 slides for this. Okay, you will need students to be able to walk around the room. Let's see if we can fit this in this virtual environment. So try to get 5 in a row on the bingo board by finding classmates with the qualities in the boxes. Write their names in the box they represent. You can only use a classmate's name for one box on your board. Let's look at the. Okay, this is the bingo. Write your classmate's name in the box they represent. You can only use a classmate name for one box of your board. Look at this bingo. Can whistle. Is an only child. Is taller than you. Knows how to swim. So this is something that I will use. I will use this in a virtual environment, but maybe for a class that already knows, they know each other well. Maybe, and if there is maybe a course in Intercap, maybe the 4th or 5th course, because they already know about themselves, right? But this is quite good. I don't know if you are watching this on the Nearpod, or if you are trying something there. This is quite good because it takes a lot from the pressure for you to build things for your classes, right? All right, so this is the 4th slide. Amazing resources there. Let's go with full lessons. Full lessons. Compound words. We have science there. Side word. Look at this. Why are Mondays so hard? Animals. It has a lot of resources there. For solar system. Well, this is interesting. Let's look at this. All right, so this is the complete lesson for this. We have a survey that this is already done. This is already done in Nearpod. How much do you know about the sun? Not much. I know something. I know a lot. Nothing at all. Maybe I know something about the sun. Right. The sun is a star at the center of the solar system. It controls the orbits of our planets. Well, amazing, right? Okay, so that that's the part where you get all the resources there, and then you can build your own stuff, your own assessment for gamification and your interactive assessment. Okay, you can select here nuevo, and you have a lot of things here also, like a complete lesson, a lesson for Google Slides, a video, or if you want to be more organized and be placing the things in folders. So let's get into action with this, with the gamification assessment, cuestionario gamificado. I'm going to click here. This is time to climb. Sorry. And back. Let me listen at. So let's apply this. Time to climb. And I can put here, it is the first step for Robert Gagne's instructional design. And I can put here the answers. It can be also images, no pictures. It can be also included as an image for this, like planning. The time here, look at this. This is something that is really, really good to have more, more time because of the delay. So maybe I can put here, I will say 1 minute and 30 seconds. if someone is really having problems with delay, 1 minute and 30 seconds is really something that is going to be comfortable, because they are not to have even 1 minute. I think it's sometimes difficult, but 1 minute and 30 seconds or maybe more, right? I don't know. And this is, I think, the maximum. But I like this. I like this, that it has this option. Uh, the type of answer, if it's going to be written or that is going to be an image, right? So this is something that you can have here. And we can put here different answers. Okay, another one. And I'm going to select the correct one with this green button here. Okay, I can add more questions here. I'm going to save this. And I have here this already, this resource. Remember, mi biblioteca es donde tengo mis cosas, y biblioteca de Nearpod es donde hay un montón de cosas para incluir. So it can be just preview with vista previa. It can be also a student phase. If you don't want to do that live, it can be a student phase, because some students are not going to be able to join the lesson, to join the session. Okay, so you can also send that to the student as a tool for them to complete the activity, even if they are not attending the session. I'm going to preview this. And this is the way that is going to be presented. It is the first step to Robert Gagne's instructional design. All right, gaining attention, concept learning, stimulus, response, rule learning. What do you think is the answer for that? I can also present live. And you can get into Nearpod with these different types of sharing. You can share this as a link, right? With email, in your social networks, and with the LMS that you have, maybe Classroom, maybe Teams, maybe Edmodo, maybe Moodle, right? So you can share that also with the students, okay? And students are going to get into this, okay? And you can preview this here. You can select also the theme. Himalaya is the one that we saw, underwater, that's new, or space. You can randomize also the answers. Remember that I push the button here to share. Okay. And this is the code. If you want to share this, it's going to be here. You can click here. And it says los estudiantes usan este código para unirse. ¿Dónde? En join.nearpod.com. Lo voy a hacer aquí con teléfono. Lo pueden hacer ustedes también ahí para probar. Join.nearpod. And that's the code. UJGON. I can put my name here. So I'm already there with no app, right? With no need to use another. I can choose my character. Has a cool music there. Okay, it's waiting for players. And you hit start when you are ready. You hit start when you are ready. I have one here. One of the attendees there. We have Dennis there too. Nice. Thank you, Dennis. Now we can hit start. I'm going to hit start and let the game begin. And look at that, Dennis already climbed. And I'm there. And it is getting people attention because you have to be fast for that. So Dennis is the one that got it straight. Thank you. Thank you, Dennis, for participating there. So that was all about Nearpod. I hope you enjoyed the session. I'm going to have some minutes for questions. If you have one, just put it that on the chat. But this is the way that we can include gamification with our students. And you have a lot of games too that you can use, not only Nearpod, but you can use different types of games, including that you should be aiming at how the content is going to be given. Some other tool that I use is Jeopardy. You remember that? Jeopardy. And I can also search here Jeopardy Labs. And imagine that I'm going to be presenting about simple present. Jeopardy Labs, simple present. And I can put themes here too. This is like fact file, like fact file. And I already have also these categories and the amount because gamification is also aimed at how they are going to achieve something, and at giving points, and at the competition that is going to be for students to get those points and get maybe something in reward. All right. So thank you for putting that feedback there on the chat. This is something that we must be focusing on the classes. Also try to divide your students, try to separate them into the breakout rooms. Zoom has the breakout rooms, right? When you can just separate students. I don't know if I have here, yeah, the breakout rooms. This is something that Teams don't have, Teams doesn't have, but you can use another tools for that. For example, Jitsi. I use Jitsi a lot for separating students. That's an example. That's an example of a room that is really close to Meet and Zoom. It's like a hybrid of that. You don't need a password for this, so you can just get students here, and maybe you can just present them when you are guiding them in the instructional design, and you are going to get them into groups by getting different rooms there, right? And this is an example with no password and so. And you can also include here a gamification point for this. All right, so we are almost finishing this session. Tomorrow we have something that is related, because I'm trying to connect this Jitsi with the following webinar, that is getting students to talk. How in your classes you are maybe frustrated because students are not talking, they are not practicing, and you are trying to make the most of the classes, but no student is talking, or maybe they are too shy, and we are aiming at the following webinar for tomorrow for getting students to talk, to get the techniques for them. We already know already the basics for designing the lesson, for getting some tools for gamification, but now we need to put that into action in real classes, right? So tomorrow is about that. And also, if you want to get into into courses with Intecap, this is aimed at Intecap Jalapa as the center, el centro de capacitación que está empujando estos webinars. I'm going to put the link for the preinscripciones, ¿verdad? Pre-signing up for that, because we have a lot of courses that are starting. Let me find that. Yes, we have this here. And based on many things, we are starting courses for teachers. We are starting courses in Spanish, right? We are starting courses for speaking class for English. So I put the link there in the disposable chat. All right. So I hope you can attend tomorrow's webinar. This is the way that we are going to be presenting, right? If you are interested in the following webinar, it's all about the techniques for getting students to talk. All right. I'm going to be closing this. This is an example of the Jitsi. This is an example of the Jeopardy. All right. Does he washes his car every week? Well, is that correct or incorrect? Right. So this is a type also. Jeopardy Labs. There are many sites for this. Is also an example that we can use for our students to get into competition. Maybe group some students, 2 or 3, and let, oh, okay, you are team 1. Okay, the other 2 are, oh, you are team 2, right? So they get really motivated about competition. This is all about the gamification structure, but also competition, getting points, earning points, losing, winning, and getting an award, right? Badges too. You can use badges too. And thank you for joining. We are finishing with this. And I hope I can see you tomorrow on the next webinar. Have a great day and see you soon. Thank you for joining.